Hello, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
So I had a Mercy VOD submitted to me that I thought would be fun to look at, but unfortunately the reviewer couldn't join me for it, and I wanted to do it with somebody because I was bored and wanted to change a pace. So I was just kind of wondering if you were interested in watching it with me.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay,
Okay,
so this is a scrim.
this is a scrim VOD, yes.
Okay, do you know the average elo?
3800, I believe. So High Masters scrim VOD.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Let me just do the writings, and then we'll get right into it. So, how does Mercy change between playing solo queue and playing, in a scrim? How much scrimming do you scrim very often, or have you?
I've done very little scrimming, but I have a basic concept of generally what changes in Mercy playstyle. I would say more often than not, you have a better understanding of um, where the enemy position, because assuming you're scrimming and both teams are running quote unquote meta, you have a more reliable understanding of what the enemy team is running as well as what your own team is running, rather than having so many additional factors at play. Now, it's still good to have those factors understood of if the enemy team does a surprise swap, but when both teams are running meta, you have a more fundamental expectation of what to expect out of the enemy team, which makes playing Mercy significantly easier, as well as um, having basic expectations of what assistance you'll be getting from your team. So in solo queue, you have to do a lot more guessing and just guesstimates of when, say, resing is good, or sometimes your Zarya is not communicating, so you don't know when you're going to get bubble, or your Brigida might not have E available, that kind of thing, and you don't know what's going to be available in general. Having a scrim environment allows you to better coordinate with your team and build up vocal muscle memory, I'd call it, as stupid as that may sound, of calling out and expecting your teammate to respond whether or not something is available. In this situation, in this current meta, say for example, keeping your Zen orbing you and allowing you to have the double heals from Brigida and Mercy onto your tanks, etc., is a massive burden off of the Mercy, while always being orbed as a option is very powerful to keep your Mercy alive, and thus in general makes the meta stronger, in my opinion.
Nice. So you're suggesting kind of the Harmony Orb on the Mercy to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
In pinches, yeah. Harmony Orb on Mercy is very powerful because as soon as she's not received a damage for 1 second, that's effectively a net 50 healing per second on the Mercy, from a
Mm-hmm.
passive being 20 per second and then Orb being 30. So as soon as she's not being damaged for 1 second, which is really quickly, she's instantly receiving 50 healing per second, which is massive value.
And it
Um,
makes her
and
extremely difficult to kill if you stop damaging her for a single second. But
yes,
before you keep
and
going, I'm going to cut you off because I
mhm.
skipped a step where I didn't. I thought you were kind of like super well known through everyone, but there's actually people in my chat right now who don't know who you are and why I picked you out of any possible guest to come on and talk about Mercy. So can you take just a minute or two to kind of let my chat know who you are and why they should care about what you have to say?
Sure, yeah. So generally speaking, I'm a Mercy player who I played Mercy as my first hero in Overwatch, and then I also then put three. I'm sorry, not three. I was thinking of something else. I put 800 hours on Mercy before touching another single hero in the game. A lot of people would say that tunnel vision's your viewpoint of the game, which I wouldn't disagree with. But I think people devalue how much effort in being better at Mercy. I put so much of my time and attention into observing and learning. Um, and so in season one, I didn't use comms. I was a one trick, and I was the worst possible thing to have on your team, basically. Um,
At least that's
and season,
past tense now.
it's questionable still, but let's roll with it. Season two, though, I realized I was garbage and that there was a lot more depth to Mercy, and I went from 2600 to top 500 from the start to the end of the season by putting a focus on certain aspects and certain parts of the elos in a meta where it wasn't favorable for Mercy to focus on improving. Say like I went from 2600 to 3200 just by working on callouts.
Excellent.
And then from there working on, just simply the less you're dead, the more value you're on Mercy. Because with other heroes, it's like, oh, you need to bring value to the fight via this ability or this timing or a certain key factor. With Mercy, every second you have a beam on somebody, that's additional value to your team.
Now, you, regardless of the meta, regardless of the status of Mercy, you've been very highly ranked consistently. So, what is like the main thing that you focus on? Is it ult tracking? Is it communication? Is it getting the maximum value, min-maxing the value you get on your character? What has been the biggest thing across all metas and across all versions of Mercy that has allowed you to basically be meta-proof on this hero?
As far as meta-proof, the simple concept of communication, regardless of what form that is. Super basic callouts can get you super far on Mercy. I would say such as like holding an ultimate to combine an ultimate because other people aren't doing the ult tracking, or hey, they have this ultimate, let's just lose the next fight. So a lot of ultimate tracking, but as well as say, I'm going to damage boost this person on the team to get their ult faster because we need it for the next fight or the next 2 fights from now to prevent a situation where we don't have an ultimate for 3 fights. Managing my teammates, like I kind of subtly judge all my teammates in a harsh way in my head on purpose to determine which ones I either need to help along, and that then because I'm helping them along, they'll get more value out of that person, enough to bring them up to standard or above standard. Or if someone's just doing exceptionally well, effectively, yes, escort the carry and you win kind of situation. Determining those kinds of factors in solo queue is where you get the most value in Mercy. That's why in this situation in scrims, it changes drastically. The skill of your teammates. If there's this slightly questionable Hanzo shot that your Hanzo could get, and that with his E, you damage boosting him in this current balance patch would secure the kill. Your Hanzo is capable of that shot, but some random Hanzo that you just queued up with, you don't know that for sure. So you're better off damage boosting, say, your Reinhardt that's about to swing, or your Zarya to get the next grab. You're better off doing those kinds of things. Especially because now with the allowing to see ult charges, that makes that job and that mindset of damage boosting who doesn't have their ult immensely better.
Now, Hanzo's Storm Arrow was just recently nerfed from 80 damage to 70 damage. You saw that?
Yes, I did.
So that changes Hanzo's damage breakpoints. And as Mercy, the person involved with controlling breakpoints for various heroes, how massive of a change is it for Hanzo, but for Mercy players as well, knowing that Storm Arrow has now moved from 80 to 70 damage?
He's just a McCree now. There's no difference at this point. His E is a McCree shot, but with no damage fall off. That's it.
That's it?
Frankly.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a McCree primary fire with no damage fall off. And it's just okay. You don't have to think about it too hard. If you know how to play with McCree, just factor in no damage fall off, and then boom. You know how to play with his new E.
How relevant do you think it is that a damage boosted headshot from Storm Arrow is no longer a one shot?
Insanely relevant, because you're just spamming 6 shots down range and hoping for a 1 shot, when now it's actually a factor of you have to hit 2 shots, which getting a lucky 1 shot out of your 6 shots versus securing 2 shots out of your 5 shots is a much bigger difference.
Okay, so let's actually take a look at this VOD here. Temple of Anubis. So I'm just going to let it play, and this is console. This isn't PC.
Okay, so this isn't PTR. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll let it play, and I'll either pause it when I have a question, or if you see something that you want to talk about, let me know, and I'll pause it as quickly as possible.
Yep. All right.
Let's go.
Well, let's see if it works.
Have you already established how long this match is, out of curiosity?
We'll just go until
Okay.
we stop. I do have Clone Man coming on in about 40 minutes, so probably about 45 minutes is how long we'll have to discuss this VOD.
Okay.
So you can We can, if that 45 minutes only gets through 10 minutes of footage, that 45 minutes only gets through 10 minutes of footage.
They're running on Hanzo.
We'll count on Clone being late.
Widow.
Now, already, positioning wise, a lot of Mercies like to wrap bridge here, but this is still too many line of sights for enemies. If they're not already instantly going right, you're safer on the right side behind that wall. So basically, you should peek Ryan Shield to determine which direction they're going, and then base that on which direction you should be going. Since they're not going right here, you're actually putting yourself in an immense amount more danger by wrapping to the left. If they're since right now we've only seen Genji, and we haven't seen people going right, this Mercy needs to be on the right side hugging the wall, which is the safest place they can be. I've seen Widows that hook onto that middle left pillar just to be in my team and get a headshot of me. That's insanely unrealistic, but that's an easier position to shoot from, or she could hook up to that left wall. There's so many different reasons why this is immensely more dangerous of a position than otherwise.
And, of course, rotating on the right, it doesn't allow you to kind of retreat back to the point as nicely, but you can always just drop off behind.
I mean, as simple as on console, as simple of a difference as this may be, you wouldn't have to jump to get line of sight. Sometimes you get stuck on this handrail right here if you try to fly to somebody on the point. So you actually have direct line. If you wrap to the right wall, you have line of sight of everybody on the point pretty much.
Okay.
The only difference being if somebody does wrap back to the point, this position allows you to easily Guardian Angel jump into the right room that's on the point.
Awesome.
So that's really one of the only differences.
Anything else, or keep playing?
Keep playing.
Genji don't deflect, they're going right side.
Now that Sonic Arrow is pretty clutch right here, and they did go right.
Go for the res.
This Mercy could have already gotten off a res if they tried.
So
behind that pillar.
Resing, of course, prevents you from actually healing during your resurrect.
Yes.
Are you trying to stabilize any targets to make sure that they aren't bursted down during your res? So even if you're in no danger, what are the other factors that you as a Mercy have to consider before you press E?
I consider my teammates' health first off, the positioning of what's most likely to kill me, and then also if somebody's low on the enemy team, damage boosting a target that's most likely to deal the damage. Often in this situation, that would be either Brigitte's primary fire or Reinhardt's primary fire, or E, which Reinhardt's fire strike is very potent in this corridor. So oftentimes I'll wait for once I know my Reinhardt's fire strike is down. That's less value of damage boost on a target on my team, because you should always damage boost your Reinhardt's fire strikes, not only from ult charge, but that's 30 damage additional to every target he hits. So as soon as I know certain cooldowns are down on my team, that's less value in considering to damage boost. And as long as people are remotely topped up, go for that res as soon as possible. You're wasting your time otherwise.
Okay.
And especially in this meta with Hanzo being as powerful as he is.
Genji behind, be careful. Go, push him.
In your opinion, is Zenyatta a good target to damage boost to try and get his trance faster, or is that kind of low value on the spectrum?
It depends on the enemy team comp, where if he'll be able to actually apply the damage. If Hanzo's alive, you're almost always better off getting multiple you can usually get off 2 dragons per grav. So whenever I see a Zarya that's at 50% of their grav, I'm just just dragon and we'll aggress on this team fight. And by the time our Zarya has grav, even if I damage boost him, you'll have your next Hans ult. So that brings more value to that. Basically speaking, people hold on to their ultimates too much in some regards, and establishing when those times are important.
Okay.
Now this fight was pretty good, but they no longer have grav, I believe.
They used hammer.
And
I'm not sure if they used grav or not.
Alright.
I was too busy talking.
So they've got route. So this is the exact situation you were just talking about. Halfway to grav, have a dragon though. They've also got a route.
And now, if I was coordinating with my team here, I would tell them to, if you ever so slightly go to the left of the right corridor as they push, and you push on that with a dragon, people that are on the left side will get stuck in the dragon. People on the right side will be like either damaged or so that's just a free win with one dragon, and then you'll have the next dragon for the grab. Basically speaking, if they keep going right here, that's a free team fight win with one ultimate, and that you'll get it back.
I have
quickly.
Valk, so they're running solo heal Moira.
Looks like they are trying to do some ult tracking or planning.
Well, Brigitte too. But...
Oh,
Yeah, it's
yep, they're
good.
going left.
Really good dragon there.
Oh, it could have been a lot better.
Now, one of the things that I personally do
Tracer on our Zen, Tracer
on
Zen.
Mercy is that if my Zenyatta like got attacked, or really if a Zarya got attacked, I always kind of put my priority on the shield heroes last, because after 3 seconds their shield starts to regen. Is that a risk that you are willing to take? Is to kind of, if you saw that your Zen got hit by an arrow or something, you know, do you immediately start pocketing him, or do you kind of just be like, your shield regen will take care of it while I kind of pocket the people who have armor, not shield? Is that something you ever take into consideration?
I would say I'm selfish about it to the point where, like, if I have my ult up, I'm less likely to heal my Zenyatta, and depending on the situation, because it's actually interesting. Because say for Zarya, if she goes below but you want to prioritize other people, you could be like, all right, well, if I don't heal my Zarya, that's 200 HP potential healing lost. Same thing applies for Zen of 150. So that's potential healing for you, padding stats, which doesn't really apply anymore. And or if he's potentially either going to receive another dosage of damage, or if I just think he got in cover and he's fine. In this situation, you should always try and prioritize healing on a Zenyatta when they have Tracer, because Tracer's like not only always going to go for the Zenyatta or you, but the Zenyatta is the more likely target to.
Easier to one clip and has less of an escape than Mercy. You shoot a Mercy, she's just going to press shift on somebody and poof, gone. So
especially so on that, oftentimes Tracers, like especially at this elo, will engage and not think about having a recall or not. And so if that Tracer engaged without recall and they went on a Zenyatta and you pocket that Zen and she doesn't get the one clip off, very likely a Zenyatta at this elo will just discord her and two-shot her or something. So
it's good. It's good. It's good.
just always pocketing the Zenyatta gets, because keeping your Zenyatta alive while also being, oftentimes when your Zenyatta realize he's being healing and prevented being one clipped, he'll then throw an orb on you. So then, effectively speaking, that Tracer just
playing flanker,
lost.
that is the most annoying thing. Trying to go after a pocketed Zen who has a harmony orb on the Mercy, you're kind of like, well, I'm useless.
Yep, literally.
There's
Yep,
nothing
absolutely.
you can do about it. So
We still have the brig. We still have brig.
So this situation,
go ahead.
I think this is a good time. If I was this Mercy, I would have already Valk.
Oh,
yes,
damn.
I was about to ask you if you would, or when you would Valk to kind of gain the movement speed and return to the fight.
I didn't have audio, and they're also using comms. Are you hearing comms right now?
I'm not paying attention to them, but they are they're talking.
Okay, because it looks like they probably called out that they got dragon grabbed, which I would then have not Valked. Saving Valk
Let's
for
not rally, I think. I think we should just pop it.
one pushes on B is super important. And
Anti
they have a
one
lot
pushes.
of ults. Yeah.
But that's not a phrase I'm familiar with.
I mean, just not like if they took point without using all their ults, and you just and you're gonna get pushed to B. Sometimes if they move quick enough, they're gonna be in
preventing
position
snowball. So
yeah.
okay, so you're saying the Valkyrie is
should say
really
that.
good at preventing snowball onto the second point. Yeah, that makes more sense.
And oftentimes during snowball, there's going to be like one or two people that think, oh yeah, I can go into the left or right. And if you just call out the person that's going left or right, and Val can damage boost, and your team actually looks at them, that snowball's gone.
Okay.
So
Pistol is out.
Yeah, she's just a translocator.
Sombra is left side. That's what they're calling out right now.
I'm on the left side.
okay.
He's got shattered. Hanzo's one in front.
They're calling out that the Reinhardt has Shatter. So what do you think about this Valkyrie here?
I think it's good overall. In this situation, I would be calling out to shoot shield, because then that'll bring more value to the rest of the ultimates that we will be potentially deploying, such as Grav and not having and their shield being down. That's big.
So would you want them
Or
focusing the shield before or after you grab? So are you using the damage boost to help break that Reinhardt shield?
yeah, I often Valk just so you have 5 people damage boosting shooting shield. That shield will go down very quickly if people actually listen and do so, because then everything behind it, their push is effectively being defended by a coalescence at that point.
Now,
So
the opponent doesn't have like a McCree or a Souls or anything with like a hit scans DPS ultimate or anything like that. But since Valkyrie is such a 3-dimensional ult, you can position yourself basically anywhere. You've got a gigantic beam range and you can fly around and all that. Where do you position yourself when you're using Valkyrie?
in this very specific situation, I would position hugging the tomb on the side, because they would have to then not only be on the point, but then be halfway on the point and then also focus you down. A lot of things would have to happen for you to be in danger when you're positioning to the right of the tomb. In this situation, this Mercy could get one shot by arrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a Hanzo on the left side of the screen here, but not
If you
showing,
don't
but
have-
on the Mercy's left.
If you don't have cover, you're more often than not better off being on the ground. Like, Mercy's undervalued while Valking, hugging the ground.
Yeah,
The only damage there...
That was my next question, right? Even though Mercy has the ability to fly through the sky, when are the situations where you'd want to actually still be, a grounded bird, just kind of valking, but on the ground? What situations are those?
If they basically, a lot of that has to do with their tank ultimates. If they don't have like Grav or Shatter, or you're out of range of both of those, then sticking to the ground is more often than not better, because say just a random Zarya bubble is more protection otherwise. So your shield will protect you, random Zarya bubble, that kind of stuff will have more value in preventing the potentials of one shot by their team. And I don't know. I think in this situation as well, a random note, Widow and Hanzo, if that's your 2 DPS, are really good on Anubis, because then the Hanzo can be with the team flanking. And if the Widow's main and your Hanzo doesn't deal with the Widow can either be on the pillars to the left or in main. And that's a lot of distraction on your team, and you get pressured back pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that also drastically limits your options in Valk. Now, do we know this Mercy has 14 armor? Is the enemy team? Is this Mercy team rallying? Do you know?
Right now?
I don't think we need it here. Oh, no,
No, not right at the moment.
Okay, because that's another factor of why I would be closer to my team to get rally. Because then I would hug the tomb, get rally, and then back up with my additional armor.
Mm-hmm. And people always kind of underestimate how much armor actually decreases enemy DPS. The rule of thumb is, of course, it reduces damage by half or by 5, whichever is less. But despite having a maximum damage reduction of 5, that's per pellet or per source of damage. So against a Tracer or a Roadhog, for example, that number can be 40% damage reduction, even if you only have just a little bit of armor there. So very, very useful to have that armor on you.
Mm-hmm.
They ate it.
Would you have gone for this res here?
I'm on shadow right now.
I would go for the one that they're going with for right now. That was a good res.
Point.
What made that a good res, despite being basically in the middle of their team?
You're basically directly on top of them, and often the enemy team gets carried away with the fact of, oh, it's a Mercy, we don't have anything to kill it, and they stop paying attention to the factor that they could potentially kill a Mercy.
Yep.
And so after a little bit they get careless, and then as they were slightly pushing forward past the person they just killed, and if the team's not paying attention to the fact that they need to camp bodies for that potential res, that's a free res. Exactly the timing that. I actually would have gone for the res sooner, and
Mercy
potentially
res
would have gone
blocked by LOS? Like if the Winston bubble is
No.
between the Mercy,
No, it used to, and that was a bug. It was a
It
bug
was
on
a
PTR
bug.
at one point.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was forced to play Mercy on a team for a while. During that period where she was changed like 7 times in a month or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that period of time? That was an awful period of time. But
Mhm.
ever since then, I have just kind of not had the motivation to relearn Mercy in her current state. So Mercy is one of the larger gaps in my knowledge right now.
Yeah, I would say personally, she's changed less than people. Like her effects and what she does has changed a lot, but playing her hasn't changed very much at all, in my opinion.
Her
Where's this Hanzo?
the bunny hop tech where you can kind of like go from flat ground and gain elevation off of a teammate, is that still a thing?
They have a demon now?
Yes,
They have a demon now?
I call that
running-
GA jumping.
GA jumping.
Oh, they have
I was
Alright,
trying in a
okay.
practice range to replicate it, and I couldn't get it to work, even though people were telling me it was working. So you'll have to teach me how to do that after this VOD.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good tech for people to learn.
Alright, don't push up so much.
Somber, left side, be careful,
In
Ryan.
this situation, just the fact that they don't have damage boost always on the Hanzo makes me a little sad. Like nobody really needs healing here. Between fights, having damage boost on this Hanzo means that their shield would basically be broken at the time of their engagement. Right, as long as that's not gonna happen. And not only did that not happen, it staggered the Mercy, as well as even if she got the res off, the
mean, we
team
knew
was
it was coming, we should've
waiting
backed out
and
of that.
ready to kill that person that's being rezzed. And otherwise, if people were staggering onto the point, you'd have this good trickle of people being not coordinating which side of the point quick enough on which person to kill, right?
Yep.
That miscoordination is often why stalls happen in 2CP on this point.
Do you want to jump into a custom game and see if we can't demonstrate some Mercy techs?
Sure. So, there's a lot of very easy tech to do on Mercy to get a lot of random advantages, which in a coordinated environment you could leverage a couple of them.
Okay. She's got 40 seconds until the gate actually opens. Now, the very standard one that you kind of like slingshot past a target, all you do is kind of Guardian Angel first, and then you just hold space. Is there anything
Yeah,
more complicated
you can.
than
In a couple ways. Depending on your Mercy settings, you either need to double click Guardian Angel to cancel it, or hang on.
Yeah, because you have the settings for hold and toggle, right? Which
Yes.
which settings do you use for those, by the way?
I use all non-default 9085.
So you have toggle beam connection on, prefer beam target off, toggle
Yep.
Guardian Angel off, and then what were the sensitivities?
9085.
90 and 85. Okay. So
Um,
I'm going to be spectating you. I love the pink Mercy skin.
now, even this incline, I can already do this.
Okay, so you're going to capture the point, and you are kind of like getting some elevation, but you're not nearly going as vertical. Like you couldn't be.
I'm here.
And there you go, going from the low ground to the high ground. That's the important. Wow, look at the elevation you get off that. That's nuts. I don't know this tech. I don't know how to actually do that.
Yep. So there is a lot you can do.
Okay,
So,
so walk
the
us
reason
through
why I like-
how exactly you're doing that.
Right now, I hold Guardian Angel and then instantly press spacebar. The higher the altitude, the more you can launch yourself up. So I could even go over this if I time it right.
Fuck. What the fuck?
I told him to pick Reinhardt for a reason. So if you look at my reticle in first person,
Yeah.
how it's higher up on the body. Certain heroes this is better to do on. You can pretty much do it on some heroes with better timing because the altitude is higher because of their hitbox for the Guardian
Oh, so
Angel.
where the Guardian Angel trying or diamond rather shows up matters?
Yes. So say on Torbjorn, this is basically impossible.
Now, does crouching allow you to get it? But like, does crouching have any impact on it?
It is possible, but very difficult to time properly.
Okay.
Like even right now, without him, if he jumps, it makes it infinitely easier. Doing it in in person requires actually decent timing, and I'm not actually that great at. See, he's crouching, and it makes it impossible.
Okay. So he's gonna. There we
Yeah,
go. As soon
so-
as he started jumping, it became easier.
Yep. So in some situations, just a teammate randomly jumping gives you the advantage you need. And say a Reinhardt jumping right here. Wait for it. Oh. Yeah, in some situation,
It's every time
I'm
you
not-
try and demonstrate it, you fuck it up. I have the exact
Yeah.
same experience.
Let's get the payload moving again.
let's go back on the cart.
Okay.
So the reason why I like it as well
Join me.
is anybody on top of a cart can pretty much make this possible, and specifically the tip of the cart. And so you can pretty much get up to high ground. You can even get up to here if I time it right. Let's see. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's really easy to gain a little bit of advantage.
So it's like it's Guardian Angel jump. So it's basically just the Guardian Angel slingshot. You're just getting some vertical movement out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are
Now,
there
if
any
you notice
other-
right there,
Go ahead.
if you notice right there, even though I was right there, I used him to then give me a speed boost. Even though he was on the cart, I didn't fly directly to him. I flew to him and then held space, so I flew faster between the middle and to here to get horizontal speed and to jump.
The payload stopped.
So
Okay.
it's possible.
I want a shot at this. I want a shot at
Let's keep
testing this out.
Welcome.
I've never been able to do the. What did you call this tech? I'll use your term.
GA jumping, which is
GA
Guardian Angel.
jumping. So I use Guardian Angel hold, not toggle.
Which is, in my opinion, the better one. It gives you more options.
Let me get you patched up.
Okay, so we're gonna use the Reinhardt here. So I want to have my crosshair lower than the Guardian Angel targeting thing.
Oh, your crosshair doesn't matter.
Your crosshair,
You can-
it's his. Okay.
Yeah, listen to this one very specifically. If you use the setting for prefer beam target, you can technically do this without even looking at them. You could do this looking backwards and just knowing that they're higher altitude than you.
Okay. Mercy. Prefer beam target is on, so I do use it on. Okay. So do
Yeah,
I
so
have
you
to be
could-
using arrow keys, or is it just Guardian Angel jump?
It's just Guardian Angel jump.
Okay.
You can make it more advanced than that if you want.
I'm not
But-
going very high.
Take them down.
So I'm pressing them like almost immediately one after the other. Is there any sort of a delay?
It's Guardian Angel and then holding spacebar while holding Guardian Angel.
I feel like you're getting way higher than me.
Protect the payload.
It's hard to do it backwards. I've never done it backwards before. I just knew it was possible.
Oh, we got a little bit of altitude, because you can get on
Yeah,
the
here,
bank here.
yeah, easily.
So, do I have to start farther away?
I've got you.
Almost.
There's a little bit of a dead zone where it's there, but it makes it
Ooh.
increasingly difficult.
Ooh, timing's
how
weird. It's kind
close
of
you are.
1-2. It's kind of like a 1-2
Yep.
timing. 1-2.
Yep, 1, 2,
I think
and holding
Moving
both.
payload.
yes,
so
I am holding
hold-
both.
So you kind of go. Yep, you almost had it.
Yeah. So I'm
And-
I'm used to doing the slingshot more laterally, because you can just do. Oh, I even fucked it that one up. So
I'm
it's. Yeah. So it is. It's not. There is actually quite a significant delay before you actually press the space bar to launch.
It depends on the distance and how much distance you want and the timing of it. Because what I say to a lot of people is that you should do this pretty much all the time, regardless of if you actually want to jump or not, because it's free speed at the end of your GA either way. See how fast you went towards the end of that past him,
Yeah.
and how much distance you got. It's basically a free double GA in distance if you do it right.
I've got you.
Oh, I got it! Ah! Ah! I was pressing jump too early.
The payload stopped.
It's like when you're closer, there's even a more significant delay. Oh, we got it!
60
We got it!
seconds remaining.
There's actually a pretty significant delay to this. So, can I do this backwards?
You can technically, as with if your beam is on. Yep, there you go.
I'm a god.
You can even just like jump right here.
Ich bin da.
Peace.
Jeepers. I just jumped and you just fucking teleported. Okay, let me try.
And what position a little bit more to your right, real quick, and I'm gonna show you what I meant. So I just flew to you, but hold space.
Oh,
And
that
I
is
quickly,
cool.
Your support has
Yeah, so I could
arrived.
like reposition really quickly to
So you
other
just
high
like
ground.
tapped Guardian Angel once and then hit space afterwards, right? So you just got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
momentum
so-
boost, but you didn't Guardian Angel to anyone.
I actually say this occasionally that a teammate dead is less options to the Mercy and more likely that you'll die because of this kind of tech. Repositioning in this fight where, like, say, if a monkey is, like, on point tasering people, sees the Mercy top left, and was like, wait, I'm going to wait for jump, and then jump her, and then just, like, the jump over, it's just like, where'd the Mercy go?
Yeah. Okay, so
Also, I just did that without you jumping, by the way. Please. If you get good at this, this is good. Like, this is the kind of tech that you should be learning to make yourself a better Mercy.
You're the best. I'm the best. Yeah, you're the best.
Now you can see how much, if practice, this is really good.